Close enough? Got 1 minute? Okay, I got the audio switch on. Thank you. Okay, everybody, welcome to the Village of Skokie Appearance Commission meeting for Wednesday, September 14th. When you checked in to get your building permits, you were given instructions what we're going to be doing here this evening, reviewing your exterior elevations. If you're a residential case, there's quite a few people here. If you're a residential case, people within your immediate vicinity were given notice of this. If there's any such people who want to be heard at this meeting, please come up when I call a case. Call that specific case and we'll get to you. There's 2 podiums here. Come up to any podium when I call your case. When I call a case, the commissioner to my left, your right, will be reading you comments we get from the village's community development department. We take these comments into our consideration when we're making our discussions. Anybody who's going to be coming up to speak tonight or wants to be heard tonight, please stand up now so you can be sworn in. If you're not going to come up and speak, you don't need to.
You can't testify. All right. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you very much.
Okay. Before we proceed with the cases, and we're going to, we got quite a few, so we're going to try to get through this as efficiently as possible. Somebody will approve the minutes from the prior month's meeting.
I move that the minutes of meeting of August 10th, 2022 be approved as written.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So passed. Okay. Case number 2022-051A at 9309 Avers. It's a facade. Rafi?
Staff has no objections to the proposed facade changes.
Different than the ZBA.
Good evening.
Just waiting for our AV consultant to put it up on the board.
That's the area.
That's
correct?
Okay.
It's just a first floor bedroom.
Existing.
You matching all existing materials? Okay.
Yes.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I will.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay.
You want to do it, Joe?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We'll save Joe for later.
All right, either way.
I make a motion that a certificate of appropriateness be granted in case 2022-051A at 9309 Avers Avenue as presented.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So passed. Case 2022-052A, 9049 Kildare Avenue, second floor addition.
The staff has no overall objections to the proposed elevations. Staff prefers the eyebrows on the addition be in line with the eyebrows of the existing home.
You were here recently, weren't you? Yes. For this house?
We were here, we did this one-story addition.
Yeah,
This
one.
is the
Just
second
like
floor.
last year or this year?
Yes,
or-
last year.
Okay.
Yeah, one-story addition around here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the windows line up, the eyebrow is smaller, just it's kind of
Yeah,
smaller, so it's not, I can't make it
there's no way to.
Yeah,
I stared at
I
this.
think the scale of this is fine.
Yeah, I stared at this a while, and you can't make the eyebrows as wide because the space is narrower and
Yeah.
there's two
And they're in
bedrooms.
They're in different planes anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, the garage is actually like 3 feet ahead of the other.
Forward, yes.
I don't.
All right, fire away, Joe. Matching existing, right, Rob?
Correct.
I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for the case number, here, see, I wasn't ready. 2022-0528, 9049 Kildare Avenue, as presented.
Maybe a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passed.
Thank you. Have a
Have a good
wonderful
evening.
evening.
Case 2022-053A at 8603 Springfield Avenue. It's a second floor addition. Are they here? Oh, okay. Come on up.
Staff has no objections to the proposed elevations.
You guys can stand together. Pick a side. Okay. What's the material on that?
Second floor?
Does it say indicates new painted wood siding, trim? Is it gonna be siding to match that siding that's, I'm confused as to what we're doing on the second floor there.
We're
it-
actually, well, eventually we have to change the siding on the whole house because that's kind of what,
Go back, Rob.
what started this whole conversation because it's very old and leaking. So,
Yeah, so that little guy comes off.
that is
Right,
all
right, right.
moving forward, yeah.
Right. But go up to the drawing, Brian, I'm sorry. The one I had It just says that right there, so.
Because it's not the same coloring.
I'm just, maybe it's the architect's issue, but it just shows us as a white-faced wall.
No,
that says-
it'll be all matching,
So it's, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Are you keeping the color existing or changing it on the siding?
We would like to make it maybe like a dark, like a grayish blue, if possible. There's some houses in the neighborhood that have recently done that, and it looks very,
Okay.
it'll look nice with the brick.
Joe, any issues? Anybody have any issues?
I'm unclear. So are you replacing all of the existing siding?
Yes,
Okay.
We-
And
yeah,
so,
we
The whole
have-
house
so
will
the
be-
siding of the new addition will match?
will match, yes.
Okay.
Even though it says it
Perfect.
indicates existing, it's gonna be,
Okay.
Is that something that we need to?
no, it's just for our clarification. The village might want, for permit, you may have to change a couple of notes on here.
Perfect, we can.
But for this, you're fine,
Thank you.
because you're being recorded. That's another thing I forgot to mention, everybody, we're on live cable access, so act on your best behavior.
Looks fine.
All right, fire away, Tom.
Sure, I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted in case number 2022-053A at 8603 Springfield as presented.
Maybe-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so passed.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
take care.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Go home, do your homework, kids. Case 22-054A,
Oh.
50. What's that?
Free to go.
Yeah. Yep. I'm sorry, case 2022-054A, 5125 Fitch Avenue. It's a first and second floor addition.
So fire sprinklers will be required throughout the entire house because of the size of the addition. Bedrooms are prohibited in the basement per section 118-53 of the zoning ordinance. The staff recommends a reduction in the number of materials on the rear elevation. The elevation appears to be a little bit busy with the amount of proposed materials.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Good. You're understand the sprinkler stuff, that's not
definitely.
us for aesthetics, we really don't, we care, but.
Yeah.
But that's, okay. And the bedroom issue, that's a
Yeah.
code issue, okay?
Yep.
It's just, if somebody wrote bedroom on the basement, do you're gonna have to take that off.
Yeah.
I think if you go back,
This is,
there's a couple of materials.
okay,
Okay, so existing photographs,
Yeah. I love that.
5125, right?
that's the existing house.
Uh-huh.
And,
Could be the drawing
oops,
too.
sorry about that.
It has to be the drawing, yeah.
I'm gonna speak out loud.
Sure.
Just as we go and as we're looking for the.
Sure.
As far as the materials go, I think the front elevation looks fantastic. I think the rear elevation, the fact that it looks busy, I think is because there's a lot of different planes and we're looking at it in 2D. I like the fact that there's flat roofs. I like the fact, I think the one issue that is brought up about too many materials is the shingle in the middle. And I'm not sure if it's just because it's a 2D elevation versus,
Oh, I
you
see
know,
what you're
kinda-
saying, Joe.
yeah.
The shingle siding there, yeah.
yeah, you've got stucco, you've got the really nice stonework, you've got a little bit of brick bands on the first floor over on the plan left. You've got flat roofs, you've got gable roofs, you've got kind of that weird clip where the arrow is right now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in practice, it's the rear elevation, and I understand what they're doing.
But I would say though, in looking at that plane, I don't know why you wouldn't run the stone all the way up on the left side. Why switch to that, why have that one little patch of brick there?
So, if you go to the one of the side elevation, please,
It
Brian.
wraps around the side?
Yeah,
On the
Okay.
left.
I get that, but why wouldn't you just kill it there, you know? But that's, you know, it doesn't bother me, I'm just saying, making an observation that it's basically a 8-foot by 3-foot piece of set of brick.
One of the things I like about that
It
is.
doesn't, I'm indifferent, I'm just
Yeah,
bringing it up.
the brick wraps around to the front as well, and it kind
Yeah.
of makes the garage look nice.
Mhm.
So that brick then kind of wraps around, and then it kind of, I understand what they're doing. And and all I'm saying is, I'm not sure I like or dislike the shingle, it's just that I think, I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out why it looks busy.
I prefer that than stucco there.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. I mean, actually, I think it's in practice, and once it's built, I think it's gonna be a fine texture.
And I think it's not much different, if any different, than the front elevation, Brian?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
pretty
think
much
all
the
of the
same.
same materials
Mhm.
are employed in the front as well.
exactly.
So, yeah, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I think it looks fine. One thing I can't read is the overall height, and is that below the allowable height?
Yeah, we're less than
You won't,
30.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is, because you won't get a permit if it is.
Yeah.
It'll have to be.
Right, okay. I think it looks great. I kind of tend to think it's more of a new house than an addition, but
Right.
that's semantics.
So, do you still want us to change the back
Nope.
elevation, take out the,
Nope.
okay,
No.
so we can just leave it?
No, I think what we're saying is we like what we see.
Yeah, there's one comment I have.
Yes.
It's a minor comment.
Yeah.
You've got a sill underneath on the front elevation on all of the other where there's stone, but there's no sill under where there's stucco, under the windows that are
Yeah.
Okay.
above the garage. I'd recommend, I think it would make everything look
Mhm.
better and more
Okay.
cohesive if you put a sill underneath.
Still
that.
even on the stucco portion,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair
Good
enough.
catch, Joe. All right, Joe, you just won yourself
Okay, I'm ready this time.
Yeah, there you go.
I think. It's Fitch Avenue, right?
Right.
Okay. I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number 2022054A at 5125 Fitch Avenue, as presented with the addition of a stone sill or a sill that matches the other windows on the front elevation above the garage.
Maybe a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passed. All right, good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Case number 2022-055A at 8515 Harding Avenue, a first and second floor addition.
Fire sprinklers will be required throughout the entire house because of the size of the addition. The zoning ordinance requires a second parking space be added on site because of the number of bedrooms on site is increasing. Staff overall has no objections to the proposed elevations except the rear elevation. Staff recommends brick on the first portion of the rear elevation to match the attached garage. Good evening.
Good evening.
And I'll give you guys the same comments, the sprinklers, the parking spot, that's all code and zoning, so.
Yep.
It's true, you have to do it, but it's code and zoning.
So existing pictures. That's the rear currently. Neighbors.
Mhm. It's a big Georgian neighborhood, if I recall correctly.
Back addition, behind the garage.
That's actually a side.
Yeah,
That's the back.
And just for edification.
right,
on
it's
the
looking
side
at it
too,
from the side, but I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Just for the edification on the side there too, we repurposed the brick off the back of the building and put it down the side, so it's consistent all the way on
Okay.
both sides elevations.
Okay,
So this is the elevation staff head.
well, I can't read the note that's pointing to that material. It's the fifth or sixth note down. New painted hardy straight shingle siding and trim. Okay. So let's just take a look at the other and see where that interface is. Are you on a corner?
No,
Okay.
Brick on the first portion of the rear elevation. First.
And that is, all right, so I see what you're saying. So, go back up, right back. So right there, there's, your second, or your third from the bottom note says, new extended brick using reused brick. So you're saying on that, right there, you're doing that repurposed in order to give it a,
yeah, so we'll take it off the current back elevation
mm-hmm.
and repurpose it down the sides, and, you know, obviously we might have to replace some.
So that's on that one side, and then we come around the corner, and then you're all hardy board?
Yep,
Okay.
on the full back elevation, yes.
Okay.
Yep,
And that's all in the rear?
yes.
I think, you know, the staff was looking at maybe, I think, doing a band of brick along the bottom, but again, this is all toward the back. If you were in a corner, I would have a little, but you guys tell me what you think.
You know, the whole masonry thing is just something that we always struggle with. It's
Mhm.
like, we require it. But in cases like this where it's a rear elevation and they're
Right.
repurposing brick where it's most necessary.
Right.
You don't see the back from the street. If you're tottering down the alley, you'll see it, but
But you'll say, huh, look at that
you'll
nice
say, oh,
wall.
look at their deck.
Right.
I don't have a problem.
I don't
Tom,
in
do
this
you have any
case.
issues with it?
No, looks fine.
Jay, you like it?
Yeah, I like it.
All right, fire away, Jay. You win.
Okay, I'll make the motion. The certificate of appropriateness to be granted for case number 20220558, 8515 Hardings.
Anybody second?
As presented.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Good luck.
Good night.
Take care, good luck. Case number 2022-036A, we're going backwards.
Do you
94
want to call on the old business? We have a case continued from last month that's residential.
Oh, yeah,
Where is it?
It's on old business,
So-
second page.
Okay. Wow. Sorry.
Oh,
We're gonna go a little out of order. We're going to call this case instead, I apologize, 2022-044A at 7626 Lowell Avenue, a first and second floor addition.
Fire sprinklers are required throughout the entire home due to the size of the addition. The applicant will need relief for not meeting the 51% masonry requirement. The floor plans appear to not match the elevations. On the floor plan, some rooms appear to have less windows than the elevations. The applicant will need to clarify if the elevations or the floor plans are correct. On the front elevation, staff questioned if the canopy over the garage is necessary. The front walls are on different planes, and the canopy over the entrance will not be in line with the canopy over the garage. Also, the canopies appear to have different pitches. On the south elevation, staff would like a window added on the rear addition if possible.
right, so did you guys hear this case before? Or no?
Yeah, last
Yeah.
month, yeah.
Okay. And
So,
was
just,
these the same comments and he's back here because he's cleaned them up?
some similar comments.
Okay.
There have been comments that have been changed because the front elevation, we feel, has improved.
Okay.
So, just for.
You guys have more experience at that, that's fine, so I just, go ahead and
So,
show it.
as a refresher, this was the previous front elevation with, in the entire building had zero masonry. And we had horizontal, vertical,
Okay.
so that was
I
last
can
month.
see why we're where we are today, okay.
Just so everybody knows, reminders to what existing building.
It has a lot next to it. It's part of the same
Right.
parcel.
Let me ask a question while you're flipping through. So we have an existing brick structure and the case has no brick
Oh,
on,
there
had
it
no
is.
brick on it at all?
All right, that's better, because that was not included in the,
No. It is better. Still looks
That
very
may-
kind of institutional, a little bit.
thank you for not doing contemporary farmhouse.
Oh, yeah, I know. Took it to heart.
There's a pattern to that.
Sure.
Oh, you know what?
The garage doors, are those, is that panel garage or is that like
It's
a glass?
probably gonna be some sort of a glass.
So it'll be
Yeah,
like a
it's
frosted
opaque
glass?
type of glass,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the window frames are gonna be what color?
I haven't decided on color yet, but they would probably be a darker color,
So black?
Looks cool.
black,
Brown.
dark brown, something
Yeah.
of that nature.
And because this was not included in our packet, so you'll have to excuse me. I
Yeah,
haven't
no,
had a
no,
chance
no.
to
We're
look
just
at
giving
it.
it a look now.
Yeah.
I have, copies for all of you.
No.
Okay, just
Well,
didn't get a
Trust me,
chance.
we'll do it this way.
Okay.
Didn't get a chance to look at the materials and stuff. So the tower in the center, is that stucco?
What is that material?
No, that's a different color brick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
just sort of it's still a sort of a modern look.
Yeah.
Darker brick towards the back.
Oh, okay, that's it, okay.
And a lighter
brick,
color
huh?
brick in front.
I didn't know it was gonna be.
I mean, it looks a little boxy, but I think that's the fault of the rendering. I mean, it doesn't help to have the purple.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think,
I picked that color. I work at Northwestern, so.
I'm gonna defer to you guys, and you guys have seen it.
Can I see a section of the front elevation, please, Brian?
Side view.
I just want to count the windows, because we
Oh.
were off with the windows on the
Yeah,
second.
so Brian, it was my mistake. I actually put in the old floor
Okay.
plan. I actually, like I said, I have
Okay.
the revised.
You're saying the
packet.
elevations are correct?
Yeah, the elevations are correct, yes.
I think this is a big improvement. The one thing that I would recommend, and it's not a deal killer on this, but the three windows, at least on the first floor, if there was some kind of planter box or something to kind of break up the and I know you're trying to do vertical, but on the first floor, if there's some kind of planter or something underneath the windows, or maybe even expand the sill under those three windows, I think it'll kind of bring everything together.
I was gonna fill it in with some landscaping, to
Okay.
kind of, maybe some boxwoods or, just to kind of give it, some more, a rounder, type of look to kind of break up some of the.
Yeah. I think it looks a lot better than the Juliet balcony and all the stuff you had
Yeah, I took
before.
all that out, yeah.
It's cleaner, it's much cleaner.
Just one comment. The three windows on the second floor on the right will explain why they're not spaced
It's the floor plan, right? So that's the master suite there.
Mhm.
So I have one, I believe.
It just looks a little odd that you've got 3 feet
Yeah, it's,
between one and
it's
then
just the
a
way
foot
they
and a half
kinda-
or 2
Foot,
feet.
yeah, they're not even,
I mean, is there any way to make that,
more
3
symmetrical.
equals or?
Well, with the way to do that would be, the third window in the middle lines up on the
No, just the
right-hand
window.
side with the edge of the garage
Yeah,
door. So that third window lines up with the edge of the
Oh.
garage door, and the one all the way over to the right-hand side does not line up. And if
Okay,
you
just
could-
move it over.
I
If
think
you-
the one on the far right needs to move a little left to be right-hand justified with the garage door, correct?
And then even them out.
And then,
Okay.
and then go 2 equal spaces between them.
Yeah.
Is that something you
Okay.
can do in your floor plan?
I think, yeah, we can
Okay.
do that, yeah.
So that would be, at present, our only comment, other than putting landscaping in front of the tower. That's a limestone band I see going by it around 4 feet.
No, that's a shed roof, that
No,
kind
no,
of,
no,
oh, I'm
down
sorry.
low, down low. At the 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah, yeah,
looked better.
Brian, can I get a side view of that shed roof?
So it's pretty prominent.
Oh, there it is.
I
Oh,
really like your.
that tower comes out pretty prominent, that's what you're saying, Tom?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
trying to get a feel for what it was and how wide it was.
Oh, that looks better now that I see that it's projected.
Yeah, it does. And so back to the elevation, Brian, please. All right, so the staff's comments were the canopy above the garage is not in the same plane as the rest of the canopy. Where I don't see any breaks. Where does that plane change?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's two different walls.
Right.
Not even, not,
I understand, but does it happen right there at the different color brick? Is that,
I'm sorry, which?
Yeah.
so all of that shed roof detail to the right is all in the same plane? And
That's that.
And yes, and the shed detail to the left
Well,
of
that's
the
a-
tower?
Yeah, but it's a deeper porch, see it right there?
Yeah, that's,
Okay,
You
gotcha.
see that? No, I
Yeah,
don't think
that's the
fine.
original Georgian house.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Don't you, I mean,
Yeah.
I could make a case to make the canopy on the right a little deeper, but that's not gonna.
And looking at the floor plan on the master bedroom, the change in the windows doesn't look like it's gonna affect your.
Okay.
yeah, right, yeah, I mean, yeah, just a little over,
It's
yeah.
just
That's not a big deal, yeah.
All right, let's
You-
do it.
One last question, you didn't bring any samples of the brick, did you?
I don't have any yet. It's since the last time we changed, I'm still trying to work with our contractors to get
And roughly what are they looking at?
pricing wise or
No,
lead time?
color-wise.
Color wise. Okay, so the darker brown that you see it'll probably be some sort of a chocolate or a black color.
Okay.
And the white would be some sort of I want to say an off-white or I don't want to say cream, but as it'll have a little bit of natural tone in it. That's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Okay, somebody wanna motion up? Joe, you wanna do it with the, cause you got
No.
the, okay.
Well, there's really, I mean, we're not asking for anything except
No.
for the windows, is that right?
Yeah,
Well, and, yeah, I guess because with the projection, right?
could do it.
Or Julie, you can do
Yeah,
it. You wanna figure out the spacing of the windows? Okay.
okay. I make a motion that a certificate of appropriateness be granted in case 2022-0448, 7626 Lowell Avenue, with adjustment to the triptych of windows over the garage to make them spaced more evenly. That's it.
Maybe second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, so passed.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for doing all the rework.
Adjusting.
Thank you.
Sure. Now we're in the non-residential section. Case 2022-036A at 9435 Skokie Boulevard. Signage.
Exact address to be determined. The building facade was approved at the July appearance meeting. The applicant will need relief on the wall sign on the north elevation. Staff has no objections to the ground sign or the wall signs on the east, south, and west elevations. Staff feels the wall sign on the north elevation is not necessary because of the ground sign and 3 wall signs. Directional signage will need to be reduced to 30 inches in height or lower throughout the site. Hi there.
Now, the ground sign that you're referring to, is that what's shown on our site plan as E14? Or is that, because that is actually located not at the north elevation, it's actually located over by Culver's Restaurant, over at Grosse Pointe Road.
Grosse Pointe.
And that is a multi-tenant monument that's already in place.
Yeah, you're not adding on to the multi-tenant sign onto in front of the building?
Correct, we are not.
Okay, well,
Disregard that.
no, well, staff still didn't feel this sign is necessary due to having 3 signs on the building.
Where does that, you know what, I have to recuse myself in this case because Chase is a client of mine, so you go ahead, Tom.
Sure.
I'm just curious where the sign faces.
Yeah, the north is facing Citibank
Because they showed the
parking.
panels.
Wall sign on the north elevation.
I don't know.
Wall sign and 3 wall signs.
Because otherwise you don't see it coming from the north, going south.
If we could, yeah, there's a site plan, it's like the second or third page. It'll show you, it'll give you a general layout of where all the various signs are, including the panels for the multi-tenant monument sign.
One more,
One more, please.
Oh,
There you go.
perfect.
right there.
Oh, it doesn't have multi-tenant.
Well, it has the multi-tenant panels, but they're down
yeah,
in that
okay.
image below.
So, yeah, if you look in the satellite image in the lower left corner,
Yeah.
that's the pylon that we would be putting the panels on. So that's over by the Culvers, whereas more on the corner, you can see where it says Chase, and we've got the little yellow box.
Right.
So E14.
Yeah.
Yeah, E14 is actually a temporary sign. It's just a construction sign that's there during construction and will be gone as soon as the wall signs are installed.
All right, and so the north elevation is the top elevation, right?
Correct.
E3?
And,
So that would grab the
Yeah.
visibility of the traffic
Coming south.
heading
Get that
south.
sign.
Yeah, otherwise, you know,
yeah,
Otherwise, you don't see it till you're right on
you'd
top of
see
it.
the, right, west side in front of it.
As much as I'm recused.
Yeah,
It makes-
I-
it makes
I
sense.
honestly,
It makes
I-
sense to have it.
Yeah, it does. You know, especially with
agree.
signs, I mean, I just, it's, you know, I defer to staff because of the sign ordinance, all that stuff. But in this case, it seems like the sign on the north side is necessary because if you're
yeah,
southbound,
I agree.
there's no other sign.
From a safety standpoint.
And then the 2 monument signs all the way over on Grosse Pointe or whatever that is.
It's far.
I know that I have missed my bank, I don't know how many times, because of,
Where it is.
yeah,
too,
you just have no
Yeah.
idea how to get in to the damn US Bank on Dempster or wherever that is. Anyhow, so those seem to be necessary.
Yeah, I agree with Joe.
But do
You
need
know,
it
the
on
bank's,
west side?
it's got approaches from many directions, and I think especially the north is an important one, but I think they're all important. So, I don't know, I'm comfortable
Doesn't bother me.
with the four of them.
And then there's the comment about directional signage needing to be reduced to 30 inches in height or lower throughout the site. So those are all the other tags in the parking lot.
Okay,
Okay with that? It's doable?
yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that means the whole landscape's gonna be butchered.
Any other comments?
gonna be
Yeah.
what?
Butchered to be,
Oh.
so the 30-inch signs can be seen.
Oh,
See.
Anyone else, any other
Careful what
comments?
you wish for.
Sounds like lawn then. No problem.
Anything? No problems? Julie, you ready?
Sure.
Thank you.
I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted in case 2022-036A at 9435 Skokie Boulevard with all signs on all sides.
30-inch.
30-inch height and the ground signs around as well.
Second.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? I forgot, I'm the chair. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
As I said. I
Any
mean,
opposed? No opposed? So passed.
it just-
Thank
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, I'm back in the chair. Case number 2022-050A at 8047 Skokie Boulevard, new mixed-use building. Comments?
Staff objects to the proposed elevations. Staff recommends that the rear balconies be inset or roofed over. Staff would like to see more glass on the first floor front elevations and thinner brick columns. Staff feels this would break up the base from the upper floors. Staff would prefer a mix of materials and not a plain brick building. This building appears drab compared to other mixed-use buildings approved by the Appearance Commission this year. Buildings at the Tui and Linder site, 5400 Old Orchard, and 8143 Skokie Boulevard all used a nice mix of materials and colors. This building looks almost exactly like the existing building, 8025 Skokie Boulevard. Ouch.
Oh, that's another.
I tried to look at the pre-package on this. It's very difficult for me to even understand what's going on because the renderings are
We
so
have
bad.
some
So,
printouts that we
yeah,
can
let's-
give you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's-
that would
let's
be
do this
really helpful.
because I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
none of the materials were called out on the packet either. That was the other issue that needs to be.
We had, we submitted, I actually
How many
have some
copies you got?
brick samples that I
You
can
got,
bring
Tom?
out and show you
Yeah.
as well. I mean, to be honest with you, I was a little taken back when we got the staff comments. So, you know, we've been working on this project for quite some time, and we worked directly with staff, you know, for a while, going back and forth and trying to design the building, so.
Could you explain it would be really helpful to start out with, since we're kind of looking at it was really hard to read the submittal elevations. Yeah, you can see the brick. See, this makes a big difference.
It's just
Since-
see it like this.
Yeah, since none of the materials were called out, you had a material board attached, but you didn't have anything labeled on the elevations. So it was like, where's the cream brick and where's the darker brick?
Was there a rendering attached to the submittal?
There was not.
Yeah.
No.
We were just looking at what that shows and we're
Yeah.
like, huh?
Got it, yeah. So, actually, since we got the comments from staff and, you know, I spoke with architect, this is Tom with Hannah Architects. He works with John and anyway, so we looked, you know, the first comment that they had was, regarding the glass on the ground floor. And we actually agreed with, some of the comments that were made by staff, and we had, changed the elevations on the ground floor where we put in more glass. I wish there was an older rendering. This rendering that you guys just got.
This is more
reflects-
accurate?
This is the,
This
yes,
is the
yeah, this
proposed.
reflects the additional
Okay.
glass. And we had eliminated some of the brick panels that were on the ground level. So there's more windows. There's definitely glass all around the front, and I think it does break up the ground level with the upper floors. So,
Well, the rendering is a vast improvement over what we had in advance.
yeah, I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And I think a huge difference between what's not reflected is your windows are twice or three times or four times the size of the original building, that the pair that you've got just to the south, north, south, south.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and those are narrow windows. You use what I like here is you use the narrow band of the windows, but you added a picture window part
Right,
of it.
so,
Yeah.
So it actually does match the original building, but the windows are twice the size, so it actually makes a huge difference.
right. And one of the comments was this building looks almost identical to the one to the south, which, you know, I really don't agree with.
I don't agree.
I think, you know, it's a completely different building. When we did design the building and went back and forth, we tried to use the brick to complement the building to the south, you know, so the facade along Skokie Boulevard flows and kind of, doesn't have a lot of variations. I think it's more pleasant to the eye and, definitely improves the overall look along Skokie Boulevard. On the previous rendering, actually, on the front balconies, we had metal railings, which we had replaced with glass, to make it more attractive, at least on a front facade along Skokie Boulevard, but we kept the metal railing in back. As far as using the brick and not bringing in any additional material, like cladding or metal panels, we've had experience in the past with metal panel buildings and some of the clad that was used, and we feel that, brick structure is a lot more, it's just a better construction, it's more, better durability, its longevity is better, the maintenance aspects are better, and, we obviously, we construct and we built our developments and we maintain them and manage them, so that was the reasoning for doing all brick structure. And I thought, it's above and beyond than using just, metal panels, so.
Well, now that I can see, it looks like you've addressed almost everything that they brought up. There is a mix of materials. The balconies are roofed over.
Not, this isn't the back.
The balconies are roofed over in the front. The rear balconies along the alley, they're just, they're open. But, again, it's the outdoor space, and off the alley, we felt that the balconies actually, suffice its need and what they're intended to be. There's a lot of buildings that don't even offer an outdoor space in every unit, which we do.
You're gonna manage the building?
Yes.
So the balconies, you'd be able to regulate no bicycles and no other things.
Laundry.
Right, no, we absolutely do that, and there's obviously gonna be plenty of biking storage inside the garage provided for the residents as well.
Any other comments?
I've got a couple,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
No,
Please
absolutely.
indulge me.
No.
There's a couple of things that, just looking at it, that I think, I really like the front elevation. I think I like that it somewhat matches the existing building, which I don't think is bad. It updates it and it carries over some of the scale and everything, so I really like that. I think the roof deck is fantastic, and the tower at the corner is great. Two comments, since you're using two types of brick on the front elevation. On the rear elevation, if you can figure out a way to add some of that other colored brick. Whether it's it looks like on both sides you've got a couple of bump outs. And I don't want to tell you where to put it, but it just seems
We
like
could potentially do a band.
yeah, somehow, whether it's under the windows, whether it's a horizontal band, whether it's the projections or something, just to kind of, because it's a long space of one kind of brick.
I agree.
I don't want it to look like,
I
the
agree.
south side where everything's brick. No offense to Orland Park or anything, but everything's brick and it's boring. And it would add a little bit. And then the same thing with the south elevation. And it's not something you're gonna see, but you do have some windows on your existing building that face north. And if there's a band, like where the stair tower is or something, using the alternate color brick, when you're driving by, you'll notice that there's something kind of going on in there. I think
Absolutely.
Mason's there, you're buying brick anyways, it's not gonna be a big deal. The big deal for me is, there's no landscape here because of the site. And this is not really part of our purview, but I wanna get it on record. I know you guys have a problem with parking in the area, not necessarily with the building, but just generally, there's a parking issue. Everybody drives, it's a TOD, everybody drives. It's a reality. I would like to see you guys negotiate, it's really more of a city, to be able to get 8.5-foot wide parking spots. And then you'd be able to either add a few parking spots. Looks like when I kind of calculated it, you might get 3 more spots. They allow 8.5-foot parking spots in Evanston and in Chicago. It's not it's something that's done.
Are you saying the rear, Joe?
Garage, especially rear, and this is where my next comment is. You have an 8-foot wide parking spot all the way at the sidewalk. Along, what is that, Madison or Cleveland or?
Keeney.
Keeney. And there's that first spot right off of Keeney is an 8-foot wide spot, but it broadens out. That really needs to be a landscape spot. Right now, there's a couple of big trees there that you're taking out, and what you're proposing is putting pavement all the way up to the sidewalk for the parking spot. And it's a funky spot. I don't want you to lose any spots. That's why I'd like you to pursue 8.5-foot parking spots. Even if it's along the back, you won't lose a parking spot, because you gain a half a foot for each one of those, so you might be able to gain, one or maybe 2 spots if you're creative.
I agree.
And then that allows the landscape along Keeney, because that's the transition to the residential to the east.
Absolutely.
And I think that's gonna be important. The other thing I'd like to see you talk about is, since you really have no landscape here, because there's no room for it, because of the glass on the street and everything that we've asked you to do, is perhaps put a sculpture pad or something on the corner. I know you've got an issue with the site triangle, the vision triangle, but if there's a spot somewhere to put a piece of art, one of the things that I really like about Skokie Boulevard, and there's right now with no development here, there's a lot not to like, but what I like is that it's kind of a continuation of the Skokie sculpture. And it would be really cool whether it's in between your 2 buildings or whether it's at the corner, rather than a tree or the trees that you're mostly required to plant. It would be cool to put a piece of sculpture
I
somewhere.
think something potentially could be worked out, if possible, right on the corner by the entryway into the residential part of the building.
That would be great. If that doesn't happen, if that's too difficult to do, given however the sculpture is juried or whatever, how that's figured out, or if you find something you like, either that or that corner, which I really like that tower. What is kind of lacking, and I know that we always have this issue on Skokie Boulevard, is projections into the right-of-way, because they're not allowed, because it's a state highway. If it's not a sculpture, if it's a roofed corner, if it works.
It is a little bit, kind of like cantilevered by the front entrance.
Yeah, it'll bring everything down to the pedestrian at that corner.
Yeah,
But that is cantilevered over that entrance, right next to the 8047 sign?
right.
Is that 80, it's on a slight, it's not on a 45 degree, it's maybe a 15-degree angle,
Yeah,
right?
it's actually, in that case, yeah, you're right, because it was hard to see on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit,
But even if
More
it's,
pronounced.
if it's a sculpture on the corner, or if it's a sculpture on the brick band above that faces north, maybe it's a mural or something on there. I just, I think you have a big investment on Skokie Boulevard, and right now it's a little bit, it's kind of scattershot. I think anything that we do that carries out all the developments along there that we ask that the applicant next to the gaming place put a sculpture on, and they did. And so that way we've got something going on. We've got sculpture on the other side of the street. I think it's gonna enhance your whole investment there.
sure.
Yeah, there's room. There's the second floor cantilever, but also there's a couple feet to the very corner, so there's certainly room for something of nice size there, actually.
Excellent.
I have no other comments other than what Joe brought up. Anybody else have any comments? All right. You
That's
win.
me.
That's you.
Kinda
You
figured.
you saved it for the last.
Yeah, and I am gonna ask for that 8-foot parking spot to be removed, but I will hope that you work with the city and kind of do some homework on other communities that have 8.5-foot parking spots, and, sit down and make
It
sure
would be
that-
through the building department, obviously. to
Yeah.
see.
No, it'd be not through the building
engineering.
department.
Engineering?
No, it's you've gone to the plan commission, correct?
Yes.
You have to go to the village board and request that at that meeting.
You're in the village board?
Yeah, that's a village board. I can't, we can't require you to, we can't allow you to take out a parking space if the plan commission and village board say that number of parking spaces have to be in. If at the village board meeting, they say, we'll allow X number of parking spaces or several at 8-6, so you can maintain the same number of parking spaces. But if this comes in for permit and the village board says it's 80 parking spaces at the standard sizes, and it comes in and we see 78 with reduced sizes, it'll get denied. So at the village board will have to grant relief for either loss of parking if they don't have enough, or substandard parking spaces.
What I'm,
But seeing that it's already gone to the plan commission, I don't know if that's possible.
Well, if I may interject,
we're actually increasing the amount of parking spaces by going from 9 foot to 8.6, right?
Right, but the village, that's a relief item, which
Of the village.
typically the plan commission has to recommend that to the village board, that they get relief on that item.
So Joe opened up a can of worms.
Yeah, that's, I was
If they,
worried about that. I actually was fishing
if they
around.
were going to the plan commission, it'd be a different story, but
Right, well, I think Joe on the parking space dimensions and stuff like that was more like a recommendation.
It is.
And I think he's also saying, I don't think 8 foot is a legal parking spot, is it? 8 foot off?
no, 8 foot is not, 8
Right.
foot 6 is not, it's 9 or 10 up against the
Right,
wall.
so that
And
8
people have
foot-
asked for relief on this before through the
Right.
plan commission and
Right, so
board.
the 8 foot L spot wouldn't even be counted as a legal spot anyway, so you can get the landscaping pod you wanted over in that 8 foot parking spot.
We'll work
Yeah,
on the
and-
landscape.
Yeah, you guys,
I
We, we get what you're saying.
Worst case scenario is you've got on the far south end of that guest tier, you've got a 15-foot space. It's probably for deliveries and for access to the
Garbage
garage.
right, although there's an additional loading space, so I think we have room
We
to
can't
move the
move the
spot
spots.
over and provide
can figure that
landscaping
out,
at the.
okay.
at the
Ideally, given the systemic problems with parking, ask for the 8.5 spots. You might be able to gain a couple. And then that kind of gets you through that whole issue with the parking in the neighborhood and all that other crap that
Yeah, all
is
additional spots.
part of this. We ask for TOD and reduce parking, and then we restrict street parking, and it doesn't make any
I know,
sense to
I know.
me. So,
all right, but go ahead and fire away, but just
All right.
to make the clarity that
I
you're.
wanted to
yeah.
make sure that
No,
was on the
it
public
is,
record.
It is.
So,
Right.
all right, I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number
That's right.
2022-050A at 8047 Skokie Boulevard with the removal of the 8-foot parking spot at Keeney Avenue and the addition of a sculpture or some type of sculptural pad at the corner of Skokie Boulevard and Keeney. And that was it. Was there any issues with the balconies? I didn't.
Nah, it's off the back, I mean.
Yeah.
you know,
So it can, a note be added that was there anything with the reduction of the columns, or is that presented in the
it's
revised color
presented.
plans that we could
Looks
actually
good,
see?
looks fine.
I like the columns the way
Looks
they
fine.
are.
Yeah, I
Okay.
I wouldn't make them any skinnier.
Subject to the following modifications, which are the addition of landscaping on the 8-foot parking, with the removal of the 8-foot parking spot and adding a tree in that spot, as well as.
That sounds good.
Whatever else I said.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So passed.
Thank
See
you.
what you can do
Congrats.
about the 8.5-foot parking spots. I
We'll
know it's
work
gonna
with
be
staff.
it's a hard
Any new
slog, but it might
business?
be worth it.
No new business, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good luck.
Thanks.
Mike's off.
Sorry about that, Brian, but I had to do it.
Makes sense.
Wonder-
It's a lot.
wonder-